about healing the planet. So this is a wider area than the individual healing area, but it certainly is pertinent to what's going on the planet.
Exactly. And the other thing about my work, because I know you probably haven't had, I don't know how much time you've had on the website, I give people tools, different kinds of, whether it's meditation tools. I work in different areas of, obviously, the spine, the somic geometry system is, I put that together to heal my spine and my neck and work with those curvature situations to help to regain them as well. I do something called lateral breathing, which is something that would be similar to what opera singers do when they breathe and sing. But all of these are like branches on a tree. The exercises for the spine, like I said, that work with these sacred geometry curves that are almost like, once they're in line, it's like an antenna that works well. You know, the signal can come down, the body works, the kundalini's moving, the energy's moving, working with the breath in a certain manner helps, obviously, expand lung capacity, oxygenation. Working with the meditation techniques that I teach helps to calm the mind, and therefore we have access to what I call the inner sanctuary. The inner dialogue is quiet, and you can go inside and feel who you are beyond the mind, or I call it the computer, like the hardware or the body. We're much more than just a physical body and a mind. You know, we're a soul. So what do we do to access that, you know? Once we access that, we can begin to feel an inner peace and who we really are on a soul level, which is really critical, because that's, if everybody was connected to this inner peace and this, this love that we are, I feel like that's part of our raw material as light beings, divine beings, things would be very different on this planet. So a lot of my work is assisting people to experience these tools so they can have sort of a whole body experience, mind, body, spirit, how it's all interconnected and how we can function by having all of these in balance. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's they're tools. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and I'm glad to hear the references to Kundalini and to the light body and so on, because this is all part of it and all part of where we're headed and what we should be doing at this time for ourselves. And it's great to meet a healer who has all those ducks in a row, so to speak. Can you talk a little bit about how you use your technique to work with people individually, and whatever other things that would have to do with your techniques that you feel that the listeners could benefit from?
Exactly. Okay, as far as the kind of more scientific, physical, third-dimensional work, the somic geometry, like I was saying, is micro-movement and neuromuscular ed or neuromuscular education work. It's different than Feldenkrais, but there's some parallels. And posture alignment work can literally, I've worked with people giving them these exercises and has prevented them from having to get, for instance, neck surgery or working, surgically with the cervical area, which is a really dangerous type of surgery. Giving them other options for surgeries, giving them other options, let's say someone that has scoliosis. I don't know if you're familiar with scoliosis, spondylolisthesis, someone that would have, let's say, a reverse curve or military neck. These are options where people can actually do these exercises, and also the lateral breathing and meditation is all part of it. And over time, I have seen some structural changes, in terms of people's spines and also on a musculoskeletal level. I also work with nutritional supplements as well, so there's sort of a combination of things that I work with. But the DVDs that I sell and the exercises that I do, some of them are across the board. I could give them to a group of people, and then obviously when I work with people one-on-one, if somebody has scoliosis and the next person has military neck, which means a loss of curvature. It's a straightness in the cervical area, or a reverse curve. These sessions are basically tailor-made to the individual body. And so that's how the somic geometry works in terms of working structurally on a muscular skeletal level and attempting to bring these curves back into the normal balance that you were born with as an infant. Now, some of the other things that I do, I work with sound harmonics and sound frequencies. There's a system from China that I started working with, and interestingly enough, I mean, if I connect with someone through the show that can possibly even take me to the next level, I think I'm the only one that's teaching this system. It was given to me as a gift a number of years ago by one of my women friends, colleagues, someone that is also a healer. And they're mudras and mantras, which means they're hand positions and sounds that create a specific type of, or a specific sacred geometry, just like a snowflake has. Every snowflake is different. You know, if you look at a snowflake, it's sacred geometry there, right? Everything in the world is connected to sacred geometry, I believe.
Yeah.
So these create a specific sacred geometry, and it also creates the correct spin of the chakra. So by doing these hand positions and sounds together, it creates a powerful sacred geometry which then interfaces with that chakra, connected to that organ, connected to the energetics of that organ emotionally or spiritually, and it starts to work to clear it out. Similar to the Tibetan 5 rites, but it's a little different and more specific. The other thing I do is I teach something called medicinal meditation. It's kind of I kind of coined that phrase. It's a meditation that anybody can do. You don't have to be someone that has a lot of background in meditation, but it's a particular type of meditation that connects you with the breath and connects you with what I call the inner sanctuary, and is worked out so that the breath and the hand movements help again to stop or slow down or quiet what we call the inner dialogue or the monkey mind or the internal stuff that's going on in our heads, so that we can feel who we are, you know, on a deeper level. Those are some of the modalities that I do, and then I'm also a medical intuitive, so I've worked with people that want me to, for instance, tune into something on a physical or spiritual level, and then once I've done that, you know, kind of as an assessment, I do have a background in holistic health and nutrition and a number of things, but I don't claim to be 100%, and I don't claim to, if it's something that's over my head, I'd say, okay, go see a doctor or go see this practitioner. If it's something that I think I could work with them on, if it's a spiritual, emotional crisis or something physically that I sense and see, that I feel that I can, you know, look at and give them accurate information, I will. And I have some really powerful testimonials on my website that are connected to looking at people in terms of the medical intuitive abilities, and a woman that actually had a tumor on her kidney that I worked with through the sound therapies. And interestingly enough, we had a way to I can't think of the word, capture it. I mean, she had an ultrasound or a CAT scan before and after, and it showed the before and it showed the after. I did this sound work, and it had shrunk 1.5 centimeters, which I think is about a half an inch. And this is just from the sound work. I was in Hawaii, she was in Virginia, and it was working with these sound frequencies over the phone, and she had the phone on her kidney. And I do attribute some of this, even though I've been working with sound and my voice for years, but some of it I believe is because of swimming with dolphins and whales, that they helped to take me to the next level.
So when you say sound therapy, are you talking about playing certain kinds of music yourself, or are you talking about using your voice as an instrument in therapy?
I'm actually talking about, in this particular